Hey there, Lisa here. Welcome to my channel. I hope you'll join me in my love of crafting and DIYs and hit that subscribe button. We are back for 5 Under 5 this month, and I'm so glad. I just love trying to create beautiful items on the cheap. Before we get started, though, I would like to just quickly introduce you to the hosts. So the hosts of this challenge are Emily with Farm Charm Chic and Missi with Crafty Cove. And each month they have a guest host. And this month it is Sharon at Grace's neighbor, Sharon. So I will have all three ladies linked below as well as the playlist. So be sure to head down to my description box after you check out my video and go visit all these wonderful creators. All right, for this first project, you will need a small wood blank. I got these at the Dollar Tree. I think they come in a pack of 5. Napkin, window cling, paint, painter's tape, Mod Podge, a marker, antique wax, wording, brushes, scissors, and I'm at about 75 cents for this one. For this project, we are going to make a double-sided sign. So I used a napkin that I got through the Napkin Mystery Exchange from Kristy at Crafty Country. I will link her channel below. And so then I just trimmed it down to size, and I can't cut a straight line, so I went ahead and drew it with a ruler. And then take off the ply, and then we're just going to apply Mod Podge and place the napkin down, and then I usually just smooth it out with my fingers a little bit and go around the edges, make sure I get the edges really good, and then I do a really light coat over the top. Then I took some parchment paper and an iron, and this just helps smooth it out just a little bit more. And then I decided I wanted to add some stripes on here, so I took some painter's tape and taped them on here, and then I applied a little bit of Mod Podge. I find that this gives me straighter lines, and so I put on the Mod Podge, and then generally I let it dry, but I gotta tell you, I was a little impatient, and so I didn't, but I really like the effect it gave it. It's just a really light green, and it just adds to the rustic feel that I am sort of going for. So I did do both sides, and then I peel off the painter's tape, and unfortunately on the top it did rip up the napkin just a little bit. I'm not sure why in that one spot and not the rest. I'm assuming that I just didn't have it Mod Podged down real well on that corner, but I did not change it. I just sort of tried to cover it up the best that I could. I did Mod Podge it back down and just went with it. And then on the other side, I took these clings, and I am not entirely sure where these came from. I bought them from a Dollar Tree Facebook group, but I don't know that they are Dollar Tree. But I just paid like $1 or $2 for the entire sheet. And so that is what I put on the other side, was this little gnome. And initially I put him on, and I didn't like the clear stuff around the edges, so I did go back and fussy cut him. So I had Mod Podge lay the gnome down, and then put a nice good coat of Mod Podge over the top as well. And then I cut out some words on the Cricut. I have fresh cut, and then the name of my business is Take It Gnome Tree Farm. I didn't know what to call it, but that's what I came up with. And so I go ahead and put the wording on here, and then I cut out one of those trees from the tissue paper just to kind of make it cohesive and make it go with the other stuff. And so I go ahead and add that to the sign using Mod Podge. So Mod Podge, lay it down, smooth it out, and then Mod Podge over the whole sign. And then I did take the iron and just kind of flatten that tree down just a little bit more and smooth it out. Then I took a black Sharpie, and I went around the edges. I was going to use antique wax, but I decided to go with black because I wanted it to stand out just a little bit more, and I'm going to antique the both sides as well. So I did go around with these Dollar Tree jot markers, I believe, permanent markers. And Amy at Bella's Bargains is the one who got me using these. I was like, well, that is a slick, easy way to do that. I will link her as well. So yeah, I went around all the edges with my black Sharpie. Then I take the antique wax and a little brush. Give the front of this a good dose of antique wax, just sort of hitting some spots a little bit more than others, just to try to give it that authentic aged look. Once that is done, I go ahead and do the other side as well. It just sort of, where the edges are of the napkin, it sort of blends that in and just makes it all look the same, like as though it was painted on there. Be sure to hang around to the end to see it all on my little tiered tray. For this project, you will need evergreen garland, little mini hat, you could make one, a styrofoam cone, wood half-round, teak wax, glue, knife, and I am at 75 cents for this one. You use so little of the other parts that we're going to go 75. For this project, we're going to make a little gnome. So I had these guys from the Dollar Tree that I had picked up last year, and I had already removed this hat. I used bits and pieces of it for something else last year. And so I am just taking one of these styrofoam cones that you get from the Dollar Tree. You get a set of 2, and it's way too big. So I'm trying to decide how big I want it. And then I just take a steak knife and cut the top off, and I'm going to be using the top portion. And then I had this little, I call them half beads, but they're really not beads. Just grabbed that for his nose. And I take a baby wipe and a little bit of antique wax just to darken the nose just a little bit so that it kind of goes with everything else I got going on for this tray. And I got this roll of garland at the Dollar Tree last year, and I'm going to use so little of it, but I just took some wire cutters and I just cut pieces of this, and this is going to be his beard. You could also, I've seen these done with like full Christmas trees, and they're just so cute, but I just wanted a mini guy. And so instead of cutting one of my Dollar Tree Christmas trees, I decided just to use this garland. And so I am just going to cut a bunch of little pieces. I am not worried about them being exact, just similar. And then I just stick one end up inside the foam. So easy. And then I just go all the way around, because that way, if he's sitting on the tray sideways or whatever, you just don't see an emptiness in the back. And this is such a budget-friendly craft already. A few extras, not a big deal. So I just go, like I said, I just cut and go all the way around. And once I get them all the way around, the fullness I like, I trim up a few that little strays. I don't mind the strays so bad, but there were a couple that were way out there. So I did just trim those up a little bit. Make sure that they were all stuck in there good. Next, I take the hat and place it on there, and I am just trying to determine where the nose will go. So I'm seeing how far the hat goes down over the tree beard. And once I find out where I want the nose, I'm just using some gel super glue. You could use hot glue or any type of glue that you prefer. This was just easy and quick. Didn't have to wait for the glue gun to heat up. Talk about lazy, huh? And then, so once it was adhered well, I decided that I was going to go ahead and glue the hat to the nose so that it sit the way that I liked it, sort of define the nose and do it around there. And then decided to do the same thing to the hat. So, because I kind of want it to bend over. Plus, I don't want that hanger on there, so I cut the hanger off. And then I glue that end to the side, that I get the look of sort of the drooped hat, but am also hiding where the hanger was. I gave him one final little trim, and that is it for him. Stick around, see him on the tray. For this project, you will need a wooden tree ornament. They come in a pack of 6 or 8, so we're going to say 25 cents. Tissue paper, same, we're going to say 25 cents. Mod Podge, wording of your choice. Marker, antique wax, razor knife, mini saw, scissors, and brushes. So we're going to go with a total of 50 cents. You will also need, if you want to do what I did, a gumball machine, which I make in a different video. I'll link below, as well as the little trees, which I did pay $1.25 for. For this project, I took one of the tree ornaments that you get at the Dollar Tree. I think that they come in a pack of 8, if I'm not mistaken, possibly 6. But anyways, I didn't want the star at the top, so I just took my razor blade and cut it off, and then my little saw and cut it off, sanded it, and then I gave it a coat of white watered down chalk paint, and then I applied Mod Podge to it. Finally, I took this tree tissue paper and just laid it on there so that you got the most of 2 trees, or you got most part of 2 trees. Then I trimmed off the excess and took my fingernail file and sanded down in a downward motion. Generally, I sand straight down, but this time I did it at an angle because I wanted the edges to be bare as well. And then I took a piece of parchment paper and my iron once it had dried and ironed it. And this just amazes me every time still on how smooth and not wrinkled it is. And then I took this paint marker. I had received this from Tami at Happiness Created. She's so sweet. I saw her use them on something, a little ornament or something from the Dollar Tree. And I was like, now that is a slick and easy way to get a stained wood look without all the mess. And so I thought it would be kind of handy to do around these edges. And I really like the way that it looks. And then just a little bit on the top where I had sanded that down. I did cut this out on my Cricut and added it to the tree. And then finally, I took these little trees and added them to my little gumball machine. Now, I made this a couple of videos ago and initially put acorns in it. And then for the napkin exchange, I put sunflowers in it. So I'm getting a whole lot of use out of this gumball machine that was headed to the trash. I will link both those videos so that you can see it decorated those ways as well. Lastly, I got out the antique wax and I took a small brush and just aged this quite a bit. It was a lot of green for what I was going for. There's already going to be a lot of green on there, so I did age it. Bit of antique wax across the front. All right, stick around to the end to see it on the tray. For this project, you will need a little wooden lantern you can get from the Dollar Tree. I got this one for $1.25. I guess that's what you pay for everything, huh? Tissue paper, we're going to say 25 cents for the little bit I used. Mod Podge spray paint, antique wax, paint marker, razor knife, scissors, brushes, paper towels, and a baby wipe. Total for this one is going to be about $1.50. For this project, I took this lantern from the Dollar Tree and I taped off the top and the bottom, and then I gave it a light coat of a white spray paint. And then I removed the tape and I took this tissue paper and traced around the lantern to start the process of cutting it out. I do cut it out and then go back and sort of fit it to the lantern and then draw my straight lines because again I can't cut a straight line, and then cut it down to size, and then I think, oh well, I'll just do the other side the same. Well, if you know anything about Dollar Tree things, sometimes they're not exactly symmetrical, and this was the case here. So I just laid the tissue paper down and drew with a pin where I needed to cut, and this is how I would recommend doing it because this side fit much better. So then I add Mod Podge and then just lay down the tissue paper. See, oh, this project gave me a heck of a time. So that one ripped. So I do take it off and cut another one and do it again. And then I go to place the other side. And this is the one that I cut out and didn't use the pin, to cut. So I'm like, oh, well, I'll just razor blade it off. See, it ripped again. But I decided that I was not going to redo it because I was going to make this super rustic. So I figured I could probably kind of cover that with the antique wax. So then I go through and I start tracing around the petals here. And again, another oops, I smeared it on accident. And so then I decided, well, I'm just going to smear the whole thing. And then I go through with some antique wax and a baby wipe and start just adding it on the top and bottom, a little bit across that front where I smeared the red because I'm like, well, I'm just going to have to make it look like I wanted to do that. There's some areas that I can't quite get with the baby wipe, so I do grab a brush and start adding antique wax pretty much everywhere. I wanted this heavily antiqued, so I'm doing the corners and then smoothing them out with a paper towel or a baby wipe, depending on how much I wanted to come off or be on. And then I'm going over the tissue paper. And so then I take a different paint pen, and this one is thicker, and actually it's more of a pink, but it does look red once I get the antique wax over it. But I digress. Anyways, so I take and I go around the outer edges of the flower on the front. You could really make this flower look like anything. I'm going with poinsettia, obviously, but you could, do a daisy. You could even make it match like with a sunflower or whatever you prefer. I'll show you everything at the end. Supplies needed for this project will be a ceramic gnome. I got this little guy at the Dollar Tree last year, but I'm going to go ahead and figure $1.25 since that's what you would pay if you went and picked him up. Window cling, we're going to say 25 cents. I think the whole pack was $1. Mod Podge, a brush, and so we're going to say $1.50 for this one. I kind of feel bad calling this a DIY, but it is. We're doing it. So this little gnome came from the Dollar Tree last year, and then I just took this little I guess it's like a poinsettia looking thing off that set of window clings and Mod Podged it on. And then I went ahead and went over his whole hat, or her whole hat, with the Mod Podge because the gnome is super glossy and I have matte Mod Podge. So I decided just to make it uniform. Even though this isn't my favorite and I wish I would have done more, stick around to the end and see how cute it is on the tiered tray with the other items. But I gotta tell you, I was really not feeling Christmas yet. I just love fall so much, and Christmas happens so quickly anymore. So it was a really fun little project to do. I had so much fun with the gnomes. I just think they're cute and festive, and it really does make me smile. Dang it. Christmas is coming, and I do love Christmas, don't get me wrong. I just love fall the most. So anyways, I would love to know what you guys think. Any comments, good or bad. I just really, really love to hear from you guys. So hit me with a comment. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, as it does help my channel grow, as well as to share it. And if you really like what I did today, hit that subscribe button if you're not already. To my already subscribers, thanks so much for supporting me and my channel. This has just been a really fun outlet for me, and I seriously appreciate every single one of you. So don't forget, leave me some comments. Let me know your favorite, pros, cons. What do you think? Say hello, whatever you want. Thanks so much, and have a wonderful day.